Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over the practical usage of the Cisco archive. In a previous video we went ahead and configured the archive to save our configuration files to the router's flash. What we're going to do is use those config files in order to reverse changes that we make on our device. If we do not confirm, those are the changes we want to make. So as you can see from the meme here, just a little joke about, how many times have you been on a device, you've, mistakenly made a configuration change and locked yourself out, or lost management access to the device. The Cisco archive is your saving grace for those issues. So here's our lab again, router 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go ahead and log back into router 1, which we're already logged in. Verify that we have an archive by showing archive. So we've got a config that is saved. Again, in order to view that configuration, we do a more, and then I'll just cut and paste that in, and you can see we've got the configuration saved. There's our archive config again. So as long as we are backing those configurations up to the archive, we can use these configurations in order to roll changes back that we do not want to have made permanent to the device. To start off with, we're going to go ahead and do just a quick little example of how this works and show how it actually rolls back the configuration. You start off with the config T. We're going to say revert timer. And for the purposes of this, we want to keep it really short so that it'll roll those changes back. We're going to do a timer of 1 minute. And you can see we can go all the way up to 120. So we hit that, and it goes through, grabs that last configuration that was saved from the archive to use as part of our rollback. Now, if you do not do a confirm or config confirm before that timer runs out, those changes will be written to the, or will be rolled back to the way it was before. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the host name real quick, and we'll watch that in the process. So we'll do router 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see we've changed the router name, router 1, 2, 3, 4 from router 1. Now as soon as that timer runs out, as long as we have not done a config confirm, it will roll those changes back. And we'll see that here in just a few seconds, hopefully. And it's starting the rollback procedures from the archive. And then you can see it did a no host name, router 1, 2, 3, 4, and put the host name, router 1, back into the configuration. Okay, it says rollback done. Those changes were logged to the syslog buffer on the router, and if we do show archive log config all, you can see it rolled that host name back. The no host name router 1 has now been re-implemented onto the box. This is great and wonderful. It's a good visualization of how this happens. If you do not commit those changes to the flash, we're going to go ahead and exit out of here. But let's say, real world situation, you've got routers and switches all over the place, and you're remoting into those devices. You may not have somebody at that site in order to assist with any type of maintenance or troubleshooting if you were to make a mistake on implementing configurations. So what we're going to do is simulate that by hopping over to router 2 and SSH over to router 1. And 0.0.1. Okay. You can see we're SSH'd into router 1. I can show users. And here we are on the VTY line, logged in as NetOps, and our console connection is still active as well. So let's say you're on this device and you're needing to do some, you're wanting to update the routing process for OSPF. So we do a show run pipe section router, and we see our OSPF configuration here. Let's say we were making some changes in here, or needed to make some changes in here. We are Notepad network engineering, and we've got a configuration that we're going to just plop into here and have it configure some of the settings underneath the OSPF process. But for some reason, we put, let's say we put no router OSPF 100 at the top of that and accidentally wiped out our OSPF configuration altogether. We're going to lose access to that device remotely, as well as the device losing access to anything that is in that OSPF table already. So again, we start off with config T. We're going to revert timer of 1. Okay. And it's setting up to that configuration that was saved into the archive. And we say no router OSPF 100. Okay. So again, if I were to hit enter and make that change, I've just lost access to the router. It was there for a minute. As you can see, I was getting some returns, but let's go hop over to router 1. We see that OSPF process is down. And if we do a show run pipe section router right now, we've got no routing process on this box. So as soon as that timer runs out, as long as nobody on the box has done a config confirm, the archive is going to go ahead, time out, and roll those changes back as we see right now. As it goes through, it's logging all that information into the archive, as well as to the log buffer and syslog server if we had it set up. And we can see these are all the changes that were put back in place. And then we also see, since the OSPF process has been put back in place, our OSPF neighbor relationships comes back online, and we again have access to the router 1 from router 2. If we show run, let's do show run pipe section router. We see our OSPF process there. We can also just make sure, if we do show archive, okay, so right here it's written to the archive again. So each time that it rolls back, it'll re-implement or write the memory and add that file to the archive. And again, if we show the archive config all, show archive log config all, we can see that when we logged onto the router, we said no router OSPF when we were logged on with our NetOps account from router 2. and then locally on the box, it rolled everything back once that timer ran out. Okay. So as you can see, it's a very, very, very useful tool in your toolbox when dealing with Cisco iOS configs on switches and routers. I hope you found this information informative. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe to be notified of my future videos.